85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated. and the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code XTRA20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping. Yes, people, and welcome back to another stream. How we doing? I'm joined again, as always, by Johnny Porty and a big Hugh Murray to discuss all things Kalvin Phillips. News coming out today. We're going to get into that. Massive shout out to the guys at Manscaped for sponsoring today's stream. You guys can get 20% off your order and free international shipping with code XTRA20 at checkout. Make sure you guys have dropped a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. But Kalvin Phillips, here we are. This is the news. Kalvin Phillips, obviously there was a lot of news, a lot of rumours going around, that Manchester City would potentially look at selling Kalvin Phillips because they felt that they could get the money back and maybe move for Lavia. We've heard now that Lavia's buyback isn't until next year. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that the other day. The news coming out today, guys, Manchester City have no plans to sell Kalvin Phillips this summer, and Kalvin Phillips wants to stay and fight for his position at Manchester City next season. Instant thoughts on that, lads? What was thinking about it?
It's funny actually, isn't it? Because we did a video on this, which went up yesterday, whether should City sell Kalvin Phillips, and we all had the general consensus of no, let's not sell Kalvin Phillips. Let's give him more time. So I'm gassed. I'm gassed that this is coming out that the club aren't looking to sell him. Like we all know that his City career so far has been hampered by injury. It kind of started late. He basically started in January. So it's taken him a lot longer, as we all know, to actually get into the City thing, City side, like working in Pep's way. Now, it's a bit of a shame that we've not seen him as much. It's kind of difficult to see or pick where we'll see him towards like the end of the season, like from now until the end. But I'm gassed me because I think next season, hopefully he can kick on.
Yeah, I'm gassed. I'm delighted because I think we were right when we said, we should hold on to him. And one thing City, you have to give them credit for is they're not reactionary with players who don't hit the ground running who don't, smash it as soon as they arrive. I mean, how many players have we had since Pep Guardiola arrived that as soon as they take to the pitch, they absolutely slam it? I think more often than not, they take a little bit of time, or it doesn't quite go their way, or we're not overwhelmed at the start. We're kind of going, this is a bit underwhelming. And then eventually something just clicks and something just changes. And I've referenced so many times when we speak about Kalvin Phillips, Rodri, because Rodri, I'll keep saying it. I'll say it time and time again in this conversation. He used to piss me off tenfolds. Rodri and Gundo, as that double pivot in his first season, all of us, I don't think no one tried to lie to me in the chat anywhere. We all thought Rodri was muck. We all said, no, this guy, we've got him from Atletico, big hype around him, and he's not delivering. And now look at him. He learned from Fernandinho. He learned from Pep. And he's, in my opinion, the best CDM in the world. And listen, I love the attitude. I love the attitude from Kalvin Phillips. I think it shows great character for a player who has not had things go his way this season, injuries, lack of minutes, to say, no, I want to stay and fight for my place. That's a guy I want in the dressing room. If that's the attitude, I want him in and around the squad because that's the kind of players we need. Someone who wants to stay and fight, wants to keep learning and get more opportunities. So listen, big up Kalvin Phillips, man. Your time's coming.
Yeah, you know what it is as well with Phillips, it's like, I'm at this sort of situation, and I've said this I think I said this on the video yesterday, but I'll say it again if I didn't. I'm kind of curious with Kalvin Phillips because I wasn't like the biggest fan of Kalvin Phillips before we signed him anyway. You know what I mean? I thought he was a little bit overrated in that. But when he signed, obviously I was willing to put that to a side and give him his chance. The thing is, that some people don't really understand or accept, he's not really had a chance. He's not had a chance this season. Okay, he's not done well this season, but that's not because he's played and he's been bad. He's just not had a chance in the sense that Rodri's been too important. He had that shoulder surgery, and then he come back just before the World Cup, and obviously at that point we needed to win games. He's come back from the World Cup. He come back a little bit overweight or not fit, as Pep Guardiola was saying. You know what I mean? He didn't come back in the best condition. Has then obviously taken a couple of weeks to get into a condition which is acceptable. And then we're in a situation where we literally need to be winning every single game. So he's not had the opportunity. He's not had the chance. That's why I'm willing to give him that that little bit more time. That's why I'm willing to give him that extra year, because I just feel to say, oh, he's not good enough. Well, based on what? You can't really be saying he's not good enough based on his Manchester City performances, because he's hardly played, man.
That's the
The
thing. He's had
reactionary people
limited
are saying
time.
it's that when the people who are reactionary are saying that it's that when he's on the pitch, he doesn't look good enough, he doesn't look sharp enough, he doesn't like people are upholding him to the same standards that they uphold Rodri now. How is Kalvin Phillips meant to hit those standards? How is he meant to get that just basic match sharpness if he's not getting the minutes? I think it's as simple as that. You give him the minutes, then you judge him. You don't judge him on a cameo when we're 6-0 up at home to Leipzig, or a cameo 3-0 up against Chelsea in the FA Cup. That's very unfair on Kalvin Phillips, and there must be something in there. There must be something in there that Pep saw, that the club saw, that was worth bringing in. And I backed it. I liked him. I was slightly different to you. I liked him when he played for Leeds, and I liked him when he played for England. But listen, I'm putting this season for Kalvin Phillips down as a learning curve, a massive learning curve. I think he's learned how to move from the demands and expectations of playing for Leeds to Manchester City. Coming back a teeny bit overweight, or the weight he did to Leeds, may have been acceptable. I don't know. Maybe Leeds fans know a bit more about that. But now he's learned that you can't do that at Man City. There's higher standards. There's more demands on you. It's win every single game, or the pressure's on kind of thing. So he's had to adapt more than just playing style and what role he has on the pitch. It's a whole different change of lifestyle for him. So I'm willing to give him all the allowances. But next season, the same way we said about Grealish last season, about this season, it's time, man. You got to start, producing the goods.
The thing is, like I always say, do you know what I mean? I give every player that comes into a Pep side a free year, but that's only because it's difficult to come into a Pep side. Pep demands a lot from players, changes the way that people see football and play the game. Like it's not just as straightforward as just coming into a side and just doing what you usually do. But I just think Phillips, like you say, I think he's been robbed of an opportunity already by like fans, because some fans are just willing to call it quits and that, and just be like, nah. But he hasn't had that time to even show that he can be good for this City side. Now we don't know yet, and I mean, we don't know. We could be completely wrong, and he might not kick on and do well next year. But it's very clear that we signed him for a reason. We must have seen something. Pep must have seen something. But then also, this coming out now that we're not willing to sell the guy and we want to keep hold of him, it's clear we still see something in Kalvin Phillips. So we still think that this guy can do bits for his football club. Hence why we don't want to sell him yet, and we want to keep hold of him.
And as well, bro,
good.
There's obviously the thing as well, yeah, in that there clearly is some player in there, because Pep Guardiola wanted him at Manchester City.
Yeah,
Bielsa fucking loved him. Southgate
yeah.
plays in for England. He got England's player at a tournament. So he's clearly a good player there. I watched him in the England game the other night. Thought he did all right. You know what I mean? And that was his first start in a long, long time. People don't. I see some people saying, "Oh, I didn't think he was that good." You got to remember that's his first start, his first proper minutes in any level of proper football against Italy in a very, very long time. So I actually think he's done quite good. The difficulty for him is obviously he's coming. He's coming in as an understudy, as a backup to Rodri. Let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade, yeah? Some people might call this disrespectful. I don't care. I like to just be straight facts. He's coming as a backup to Rodri, yeah? The problem for him is he played that daft friendly. I know it's for charity and that. Big up all the money that was raised. Well done. But it was a stupid friendly to do at that time. It was written in the stars that someone was going to get injured. He obviously got that injury to his shoulder. He has had that surgery now. He's come back from the surgery, struggled to get into the team because he wasn't fit. The only disappointing thing for me about Kalvin Phillips really this season, that I can honestly sit here and say that's the only thing that gutted me, is exactly the point that Lewis has made here, in the sense that when he come back from the World Cup, yeah, he wasn't fit and he didn't come back early. And now people will say, oh, well, Manchester City give the players the date to come back on and it's up to the club to decide. Yeah, it is what it is. At the same time, there were certain players that did come back early. We know that Ake came back early. I think Laporte came back early. And that's the only disappointing thing for me. And it's not even that disappointment. I'm just saying that's the only thing that I really can complain about, is I would have liked to have seen a little bit of eagerness to him get back into training a bit quicker, and really show the fans and show everyone that he wants to be here. But it is what it is. That's a small little thing, in my opinion. Everything else ain't really his fault. Had the shoulder injury. The problem is now, will he get any matches now for the rest of the season? Is it a rip now for the rest of the season? Or are we just waiting for next year?
It's a proper weird one, isn't it? Because it's because of how tight this title race is. we can't drop points at all. So Rodri's got to be full send. Champions League doesn't get any easier. Do you know what I mean? FA Cup and that, it's all full send. So it's a bit. It's difficult. It's difficult to see where he'll get in. But I think I don't think we'll see him starting many games, if any, from now towards the end of the season. But I do think we'll be bringing him on because I think as much as he hasn't played that much, he can still have an important part to play in resting Rodri. Say we're 2 to 3-0 up against the side, get Phillips on, save Rodri's legs, man, because he needs to be starting pretty much every game.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, this is the thing. If you look at the amount of games we've got in April, we've got a game every 3.5 days, 8 matches in April. Rodri is not going to be able to play 90 minutes in each one of those games. He might not even be able to start every one of them matches. But in the situation where Pep feels he has to start, Kalvin Phillips will be getting minutes. He will be playing. He will come as a sub. He has to, because Rodri can't play 90 minutes, can't play 90 minutes 8 times in 30 days. It's just not possible. You know what I mean? Especially when you've still got a packed out May and that. So Sheffield United, I'm looking at games. I'm looking at Sheffield United. I think he needs to start that game. You know, if you can't start that game, then we got a bit of an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know it's a semi-final, and I know people will be like, nah, don't rotate. You play Sheffield United. Tommy Doyle and McAtee are not available. You're on a big football pitch. Suit our game. He needs to start there. And then I would just be, any matches where we go 2-0 up, I'd just be throwing him on. I subbing Rodri off as soon as you possibly can and saving Rodri's leg and getting energy into Kalvin Phillips. But it's, I still believe he's got a big part to play. I really do.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Sheffield United game and saying he has to play that. He has to play that. Even if you just look at the date of that fixture, it's sandwiched in between Bayern Munich away and Arsenal at home in the league. I don't want Rodri playing all 3 of those games, especially if we progress in the Champions League, and then you've got Real Madrid in the horizon at that point. Rodri needs that weekend off, in my opinion. I wouldn't even consider bringing Rodri down to Wembley that day. I think Kalvin Phillips, he should be good enough. I think he's good enough to be able to take the reins in an FA Cup semi-final, with all due respect to Sheffield United. But even, in some games, maybe if we're winning 1-0 or 2-1 and there's 5-10 minutes to go, I'd consider bringing him on and leaving Rodri on as well and playing both of them and just say, right, let's just set up shop here in front of the box. Two defensive midfielders, do your defensive duties. Don't worry about going forward. Just hold the points. Don't drop any points here. That's the main thing. So I don't think it's as black and white as he's not going to get many opportunities. I think it's circumstantial. FA Cup, holding out for a win, or if we're clearing a game and we're battering a team, take Rodri off ASAP. But he needs to take these opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Big up Callum, member for 19 months. Thanks a lot for the support, bro. Says getting injured in that friendly game against Barcelona really ruined his season. But the positive is that he still had the surgery, the shoulder surgery. That's true. He had
got it out of the way, isn't it?
He's got it out of the way. Hopefully he's fine now, which is decent. Nick Toll with 2 super chats. The first one of which he says this. I think he's a good pet player and deserves time, says Nick Toll. And then he also says, watched a lot of Liverpool since they come up.
Leeds,
sorry. Watched a lot of Leeds since he come up, and he is it. Well, like I say, I'm willing to give him that time. You don't play for Bielsa. You don't get England best player of the tournament. You don't get in constantly selected in the England team, even when you've hardly played any minutes. And Pep Guardiola doesn't decide to keep you for next season if you're not good enough. I believe that there's a player in there. I want to see what type of player he is and see whether or not he can cut it at this level, which I still don't know. I will be waiting to see. But I think we should wait and give him time. The interesting one here, right, is a lot of people in the chat saying, not now, but previously when we spoke about Phillips on live streams and that, is get rid of him and get Lavia. Lavia's buyback clause doesn't activate until 2025, right? So this 2024, the summer of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, that doesn't mean he won't be sold by Southampton, because if they get relegated, it's highly likely that someone will come in and bid for
they'd therefore go for Lavia, yeah.
So where you lot at with the Lavia situation? Because there'll still be people here saying, even though the buyback won't be there in the summer, we should still get Lavia. But for me, I do want Lavia back. I'd love to see Lavia back at Manchester City. But for me personally, I want to see Phillips, man. I want to see if this guy can do it. I'm curious, man. Something in my brain is saying, I need to see him play. I need to see whether Kalvin Phillips can do it at this level.
I've got my eggs in the Kalvin Phillips basket. I feel like that's where I'm full sending. As much as Lavia looks mint, he does look good. I just kind of hope that Kalvin can do it. I back him to do bits. It'll be interesting to see if Southampton don't get relegated and then that buyback comes active in 2024, because that gives us basically another year of assessing the Kalvin Phillips situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can kind of say, right, if he's still at Southampton and we got that 40 mil buyback, let's go get him. But like you say, the likelihood, I think, is probably that Lavia will move on this summer anyway. Especially when you look at like Chelsea bid, what was it, £50 million on
Apparently
last
so.
day
Rumor has it, yeah.
Like, what's that about? That's madness.
Mm.
You saying, Hugh?
Yeah, I'm not in a rush to go get Romeo Lavia, and I don't think we would all as a group be looking at Romeo Lavia the way we do if he wasn't an ex-Manchester City Academy player. I'm not for 1 second saying he's not a good footballer. I think he is very good, and he can go on to have a fantastic career, whether it's at Man City or not. But I haven't seen enough of him, or he hasn't moved me enough, or I haven't heard enough about him for me to say, yeah, bin off Kalvin Phillips, who we paid 50 million for last summer, and go get back Romeo Lavia, because there's absolutely no guarantee either that Romeo Lavia comes from Southampton to Manchester City and absolutely slams it either. Is he going to come in and shake Rodri's boots? No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just an option because we have that affiliation to him. You know, a City Academy boy. He knows the club and he knows the systems and that kind of thing. But he's not done enough. I'm sorry, he's not for me to say bin off Kalvin Phillips.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting to see. This is an interesting point here by Blues.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Why should I believe he'll play well next season? What has he done this season that's promising? Well, to answer the first point, you shouldn't believe it. That's the whole thing. And that's why I kind of want to keep him, because I don't think there is anything to suggest that he will play well next season, because we've not seen it. As you've said, you've not seen
the unknown.
Anything. It's the unknown. But to answer the question, why should you believe he'll play well next season, is because, again, look at his record. Played extremely well for Leeds under Bielsa. Got England's player of the tournament, plays well for England in tournament football, and he's still getting selected for England despite hardly ever playing a game. That tells you how much Southgate rates him. Pep Guardiola decided that he wanted Kalvin Phillips at the football club in the summer. He sanctioned the deal clearly. And the rumours, the news coming out today is that Manchester City have no plans to sell Kalvin Phillips in the summer. Again, suggesting that Manchester City and Pep Guardiola rate this player. So don't base the why do you think we should keep him? You know, what is this to suggest he'll do well next season based on what you've seen this season? Based it on all the other things that I've just said. The fact that Pep wanted him, the fact that Pep wants to keep him, the fact that he wants to fight for his position, the fact that he's done really well for Bielsa and the Leeds in the Premier League, and the fact that he's done excellently well for England when he's played for England. Those, I agree. If you look at this season, you'll go, nah, chalk, get rid. But you got to be a little bit more, surely you have to be a little bit more understanding. The guy had a shoulder injury. Has took a long time to get back in.
He's better had a chance.
And he's not had a chance. So what I would say, as Jordan always says with a free pass, let's judge him next season. Let's judge him next season. If next season he gets the injuries again, or he can't stay fit, or he just plays arse, then yeah, no problem. 2024, see you later. No one's got a problem. You know, football's a harsh game. I mean, it's a brutal sport. See you later. Ain't no sentiment and all that. See you later. But let's just see. There's clearly a good player in there. There must be. Pep Guardiola wouldn't keep him at the club this summer if he didn't think he was a good player. Mm-hmm. Let's just give him that opportunity and see what goes on. I know there's a lot of desire out there that you could sell him, probably get 35, 40 million back for him. You wouldn't really lose too much money. You could go and get a Lavia. You could go and get someone else. But like Hugh said, you know, there's no guarantee that Lavia will come in and slam it. You know what I mean? Lavia might come in and not slam it, because the difference is Lavia's starting every week. Lavia wouldn't be starting every week for Manchester City. Come in. And then he'd be in 1 week, out for 3 weeks, back in. You know what I mean? Can he deal with that? So I just think there's a lot of other areas in the football pitch, right, that we need to sort out. Defenders, because Laporte's going, left back, wingers, midfielders, in terms of eights. Do we really, really want to be going, you know what, this backup CDM could be a little bit better. Let's do him. I just think you're asking a lot of the transfer market team. You're asking a lot of Tiki there. He's going to be worked so hard from now until the end of the transfer window to get these players in, to give Pep the squad that he wants next season. Do we really want to be adding an extra player to it? I just don't think now's the season. But next season, let's send it. If he doesn't do the business next season, I think that's fair for him as well, you know? You said to Phillips, you got this year to sort yourself out. If not, then you're gone. That's completely fair and reasonable.
It's not. It's nowhere near top of the priority list in terms of transfers. It really is nowhere near it.
Nowhere near
And something you have to take into account is the reliability of Rodri as well. Rodri has a phenomenal injury record. It's not a crisis area of the pitch. It's not an area where we're saying we definitely need strength in numbers, or at least more numbers to strengthen, kind of thing, because Rodri's not reliable. It's not like I don't know, Stones or Diaz over the last 12 months, where they're always in and out of the team. They're always off and on the physiotherapist bench. Rodri's always around. So that kind of gives Kalvin Phillips that sheet of comfort that when he does get chances, he just needs to take them, but Rodri's still there. There's no rush. There's no panic with this area of the pitch. I just wouldn't be jumping down the Lavia route. I definitely wouldn't be jumping down the Declan Rice route. I think there's nothing has happened yet for me to say bin off Kalvin Phillips. There's no guarantees any of these players come in and do any better of a job than Phillips would have done either. Just give him time, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's the one wearing a City shirt. Kalvin Phillips wearing a City shirt, and I back him to do well in it.
Mm-hmm. FK with a super chat says this. He says Phillips will do it. People haven't realised this after Grealish, Mahrez, Rodri, Cancelo, and more. The 1-year curse. The lad hasn't even played 350 minutes of football for the club. Yeah, I mean, that's spot on. I mean, Phillips...
That's a great super chat. It
is a great super chat.
I'd even throw Nathan Ake in there. I'd throw Nathan Ake in there as well, because Nathan Ake in his first season at Manchester City was anonymous. Everyone's saying, why did we spend 40 million on this guy? People slagging the club off, and he stuck at it. He showed the exact same attitude that Kalvin Phillips is showing now. He wants to stay, he wants to fight for his place, and he wants to keep learning. I'd throw Ake on that list as well. That is a great super chat, by the way. But there's patterns to this. There really is patterns to this when we bring in players and people write them off too quickly because they don't look like they fit in or things don't go their way. And then just give it that bit of time, that bit of perseverance, and all of a sudden they come good. I would not be surprised if in 12 months' time we're doing a stream or a Man and Machine Kalvin Phillips video.
Yeah, people won't like it. But
come back to the stream, man. Come back to the stream. If we do a Man and Machine Kalvin Phillips video in the next year, come back to the stream and say Hugh is clear.
Yeah, Hugh is clear. Yeah.
W's in the chat.
Yeah.
I think it is as well. Right? If you look at the fixtures here, so obviously if you go to sort of these games here, right, which after the World Cup, we've not really had games to be able to bring them on. So if you remember, right, if we look at these games here, yeah, let me, there we go, right. If you look at these games here, right, so you got 1-0 Everton, 1-0 Chelsea, yeah. This is obviously after the World Cup here. Remember that he come back to the squad not fit, right? So you've not really got games that you were able to bring him on because we weren't really cruising. Look at the first game we were cruising. He came on 3-0 against Wolves, cruising, brought on. Couldn't bring him against Tottenham. Couldn't really bring him on against Villa. Couldn't bring him against Arsenal. Again, as soon as he was able to bring him on, he brought him on. Clearly, Pep Guardiola wants to bring him on, but he's only prepared to bring him on at the moment when he feels that the game is won because probably it's not that he doesn't trust Phillips. Because we've seen a few cameos, right, where Kalvin Phillips has come on the pitch. I remember Chelsea away, come on for 5-10 minutes, and he done really, really well. Yeah. But clearly, he wants to get him more fit. He wants to get his fitness levels up, but he's only prepared to do that in games where we're cruising, and we've not been cruising, as we all know. We've had a really tough couple of months.
It's been a struggle, hasn't it?
It has been a struggle, and that's why obviously Kalvin Phillips hasn't got that much game time now. At the moment, we're in a bit of good form. 10 matches unbeaten, 6 on the win, 5 clean sheets in a row, or 6 clean sheets on a row, whatever it is. We're doing pretty good. The games are coming thick and fast. Pep Guardiola now might have to be a little bit more relaxed about putting on Kalvin Phillips because, as I said right at the start of the stream, Rodri's not going to be able to cope with every single minute in the next month. He can't play 90 minutes for the next 8 games in 30 days. It's not possible, especially with how big them games are. So Pep Guardiola might have to be a little bit more trusting in Kalvin Phillips and maybe trust his fitness levels. It's great. I think everyone here can agree. It's absolutely brilliant that Kalvin Phillips got 90 minutes under his belt against Italy. I think that was that's done wonders for his fitness levels and great stuff for us. He didn't play the other game the other night. That's not an issue. He can come back now. Obviously, we've got a couple big games. I'd like to see him. I mean, Southampton, I'm picking and choosing here. This is all ideal world stuff. Ideally, if you can get him on against Southampton, I think Leicester at home, depending on how Brendan Rodgers sets up that game, that could be one that you could bring him on against. But yeah, the Sheffield United one, I think you've got to say to Kalvin Phillips, you got to make sure that on the 22nd of April, or the 23rd, whenever it is, because I still don't think they've decided the date. You have to be ready. You have to be ready because you're going to be starting that match. And then that'll give a 7-day break for Rodri, because obviously Hugh was saying leave Rodri at home. If you play Rodri in the second leg at the Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich, yeah. And let me get this up actually so I can show you. If you play Rodri in this game here, Bayern Munich, 19th of December, you could then rest him against Sheffield United and play Kalvin Phillips. Rodri then gets 7 days off before he plays the Arsenal game, which is absolutely huge. That is Kalvin Phillips has to start Sheffield United and Rodri has to be given a rest. And that is a massive game, by the way, Kalvin Phillips, as a semi-final of the FA Cup, a cup that we've not won that much in the last 10 years. So we'd like to win that more. So massive game.
Yeah, I bet that. I think that's the best way to manage the situation. And probably like we're saying, there's not that many games that you can look at going forward now where you think Kalvin Phillips should be starting this game, but that is definitely that one. That one sticks out the most. He should definitely be starting that game. Give Rodri some much needed rest because we ham him out all the time, and see what he can do there. Like you say, the England game will only do bits for him, get him a bit more match fitness in that, and hopefully he comes back to City, and he can help us out towards this end of the season. Like you said before, bro, you think he could have a big part to play. He could have a massive part to play for now to the end of the season. So hopefully that's the way it goes.
Well, as well, bro, look at these fixtures here. Now, of course, if we make it through the quarterfinals, we're going to be having semi-finals of the Champions League, right? Look at these fixtures here. Fulham, West Ham, Leeds, Everton, all teams at the bottom, obviously other than Fulham. All these teams, you know what I mean? Bottom part of the league. You're not telling me Kalvin Phillips can't play a part in these games. These are huge games. And because opposition fans are like, oh, what? Yeah, he plays against West Ham at home or whatever. West Ham at home, we're in a title race. Like, this is a huge must-win game. So.
Bro, we need to win every single game. So,
Correct.
So I mean, every game that he plays in is a massive game. We can't drop points in any of our games. So
I'd nearly consider. I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but I'm just looking at the fixtures here and what fixtures fall when. Leicester at home is sandwiched in between both Bayern Munich games. I would nearly consider starting him in that game. I would genuinely say if he's fit, he's just played for England. If he can get minutes against Southampton, maybe shore up the ship against Liverpool if we're winning that game at some point, I'd consider playing him against Leicester at home. I mean, we're not talking about a child here, an 18-year-old. It's not like Cole Palmer where you're saying this guy should not come on. He does not have the experience. He doesn't have the whereabouts. He doesn't know about high-pressure situations. Kalvin Phillips has played in a Euros final. He's played a full Euros tournament for England and was man of the tournament. This guy should be able to start a Premier League game without us quaking in our boots. Mm-hmm. So I'd look at that and say, for the sake of the Bayern tie, and still give us a decent chance of beating Leicester, I'd consider it. So there's more opportunities here than maybe we were originally aware of. But the bottom line is, yeah, we do. We have to win absolutely every single game between now and the end of the season. Is there reality to that? I don't know. That's up for you to decide. But Kalvin Phillips is going to have a say in this and how it goes somewhere in some shape or form.
You know what? I think I agree with that. I think I would potentially look at starting him against Leicester if you can get him some minutes in the previous games. You know, if you can, if you can get, because you know,
if he doesn't start in the previous games or get more game time leading up until that Leicester game, then I think he'll start Rodri and maybe bring Kalvin Phillips on if we're winning. I think that's just the way that Pep will run it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think,
which I'm fine with as well. I'm fine with Rodri and Phillips sharing more minutes together. Do you know what I mean? Like basically, she's allowing for a bit more rest period for Rodri. Like, it doesn't have to be that Rodri doesn't play games. It's just Kalvin Phillips can chip in a little bit at this time.
Yeah, FK again with a super chat says 18 maximum games to go. We will see Phillips more 100%. You know, it's funny because Kalvin Phillips could probably double his minutes, maybe even treble his minutes now until the end of the season. You know, he's only got 342 minutes played this year, obviously due to the injuries and fitness levels and all that kind of stuff. And ironically, he could turn out to be an absolutely critical player for the rest of the season because, as we've said, Rodri can't do it all himself. He's going to need support. So it's going to be a madness. It is going to be a madness. But yeah, that's Kalvin Phillips stuff. News coming out today, reported obviously through Pete O'Rourke from Footy Insider, saying Manchester City have no plans to sell Kalvin Phillips and that Kalvin Phillips wants to remain at Manchester City. He is determined to break into Pep Guardiola's side. And as you said right at the beginning of the stream, I like that, man. I like that attitude. I like
Energy,
that
innit?
attitude of, yeah, it's good energy, man. It's positive energy. He wants to fight for his spot, not like some other players maybe like, oh, you know what? I'm not getting picked. I want to get off. He's like, nah, I want to fight for this. And you've also got to think one of the probable reasons that he's like that is because, you know, he's not going to go to a better team than Manchester City, you know? Like, if you look at Laporte, right, for example, he could go to Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG. He could
Guy
go
walks in, he walks anywhere, innit?
Kalvin Phillips doesn't get to do that. So there's more pressure on him to work for it. I'm hoping that he does well next season, because next season will be the season that he gets judged. 40 million, you know, it's not a cheap transfer. It's still pretty hefty. So there's a lot of pressure on him. And yeah, let's see what he can do. Kalvin Phillips, boys, anything else on this you want to mention?
Yeah, what I will say is it's the 27th of March, and we're going to schedule a video for the 27th of March, 2024. Kalvin Phillips, Man or Machine. Be ready for it.
Oh, no, I got an idea. How about you, just fucking you, record a video, and you got to say that, oh, how mint has Kalvin Phillips been this year? And then we'll upload it and schedule it for 1 year's time. And it goes out.
Oh my God, yeah,
regardless.
We'll
it goes out regardless.
For years.
Call me Mystic Murray. Call me Mystic Murray, because I predict these things. Yeah, I predict these things. Trust people. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna do some Mr. Beast shit here, right? I'm gonna make a video this week that gets uploaded on the 27th of March, 2024, and you'll all be saying, "This guy is mad. He knows ball. He's got
but if it goes out regardless, bro. Even if he does,
yeah, it goes out regardless. Listen, if he slumps and he's crap, everybody spam mails in the comments of that video. But I know I'm gonna be right. I've been right about a lot of things. I said, listen, you guys know this as well. You know me. Before my City Extra days, there's nobody who backed Jack Grealish more than me in this world. I said he's gonna come good. Trust me, he's going to come. Jackie G&A, man, he's gonna come good. Kalvin Phillips, I've got that same feeling of it. Trust.
I love this energy from you here. I love it. That's good though, isn't it? I'm excited to see that video. What a scheduling that'll be. That'll be the furthest advanced schedule video we've ever done in our life.
Get it done, lad. Get it done.
No, he's on for that
most viewed video on the channel. I want to be the most viewed video on the channel.
It would be pretty mad though if you get bare shit right in it and you're like, basically what he says is just right. Like
I start predicting goals and assists and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, you're like, his goal against such and such was mint.
That goal against Wickham in the League Cup was sick.
Yeah.
There we go, man. There we go. People, I hope you enjoyed that stream, man. If you did, make sure you guys drop a like on it. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. We're on our way to 75k. Get subscribed to the channel. If you want to help support the channel grow, you can become a YouTube channel member. We'll be back later on with some more content. And yeah, peace out, people. Go check out Manscaped at manscaped.com. Use code Xtra20 for 20% off and free shipping. See you later. 85% of partners prefer a man who is groomed below the waist, and 96% of partners think bad grooming is a major turn-off. That's where Manscaped have come in to help us all out, including myself, lads. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a trimmer specifically designed with our crown jewels in mind. It has skin-safe technology to reduce those nicks and cuts and gives you the maximum confidence while trimming below the waist. It's also IPX7 waterproof rated, so you can operate in wet or dry conditions. It has a premium 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology and a massive 90-minute battery time, which is supported by its wireless electromagnetic charging function. With the Performance Package 4.0, you'll get the Crop Reviver with witch hazel and powerful odor defense. This keeps your balls protected after a good shave. Crop Preserver with its soothing aloe vera and advanced quick absorbing cream, keeping your balls feeling fresh and hydrated. And the Weed Whacker to trim ear and nose hair. The Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep you the most groomed man in the room. Use our code Xtra20 XTRA20 at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% off your order and receive free international shipping.